everyone. Welcome to this episode of Education Livestream Series brought to you by the Asian Community Development Council right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm so excited to bring this episode to you because it's very near and dear and close to my heart. We're recognizing and celebrating the Thai traditional New Year's, which starts on the 13th and usually runs a couple of days into the week. But the celebration just goes on all month, which is really wonderful. As many of you know, I'm a native of Thailand. I was born in Thailand. I lived here in the US for many years, but it's still like such a great time. It's one of the most famous festivals for Thailand, for people all over the world, not just people in Thailand, but also Thai communities all over the world, including right here in the US. And for this episode, I'm so excited to have guests from all over the country, really. I have a guest from Seattle, from Los Angeles, and from right here in Las Vegas to talk about the significance of this holiday. It's called Songkran. That is the Thai New Year's, which we're about to celebrate here. So excited to have all of you. First, I wanted to bring all of you up to show. We have Dr. Kristen Giovanni. She's the founder and director of the Thai Culture Foundation right here in Las Vegas, where we are. We also have John Sangkami. He is the owner of Emporium Thai. Swadika. I should say Swadika to all of you. Joining us from Los Angeles, the restaurant that just celebrated 21 years in Los Angeles. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. And also Max Borthwick, a dear friend of mine as well, Swadika, joining us from Seattle in his home kitchen. His family actually used to own a Thai restaurant in Seattle. Now they own a successful line of authentic Thai sauces and curries called Thai Fusions, which is available all over the country. So great, successful stories of all my guests. And I know you're also busy. So thank you so much for coming on and joining us on this show, which I'm just so excited about. But first, this is the Thai New Year, Songkran celebration. I'm going to start with you, Christian, because we're kicking off to the season where there are actually quite a few Thai temples here in Las Vegas. And tell us about what we can expect. I mean, these temples are going to be throwing some fun celebrations, right?
Yes, absolutely. Songkran is a big celebration here in Las Vegas. We have 8 temples, and each temple has their own celebration with the monks, the water routine, the blessings, and the dancers from the Thai Culture Foundation really dedicate their time to practice and do these Thai traditional dances to, basically kick in the new year, bring blessings to everybody for Songkran.
Right. And I know these temples, and I didn't even know we have that many temples here in Las Vegas. And, it's so great because when you're there, it's like you feel like that's where, and your mom, your late mom, who has been part of this community for so long, she really, the temples are where Thai people really got together, right? Just over the years and just become a community.
Yes, that's where they actually gather to embrace their heritage and culture because they're so far away from Thailand.
That's right. Yeah, and John, at Los Angeles, I think that city probably has the most Thai people, I think, still in the US. Talk to me about Songkran and what do you guys do there? Do you go to the Thai temples in LA as well?
Yes, of course. We have a huge celebration in Los Angeles pretty much almost every year. Of course, we unfortunately probably skip this year, but when we have the celebration, we actually close the Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, wow.
We have, we call tak bat, which is, you're giving food to the monk in the morning. And then we have the consulate, the opening, the ceremony. We celebrate, there's a lot of street food on Hollywood Boulevard. We literally starting from 6 in the morning and close maybe 9 or 10. And we have Muay Thai, we have the Thai dancing show, and pretty much every Thai temple in Los Angeles also celebrating the Thai New Year. So it's a big celebration in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point because this year, of course, with the pandemic, the celebration is probably going to be a little bit smaller, or not at all. But it's such a great time, I think, for the community to come together, even if it's just small gatherings at home. And Max, talk to me about your story growing up. You were born in Bangkok. Have you ever gone back to Thailand to celebrate Songkran when it's actually happening there?
I have, yes. Yeah, I've been several times to celebrate Songkran, and I can remember the first time that I went to celebrate it. what's the province next to Malaysia? It's just
Just
south,
salad?
just north.
Mm, I'm
Anyway,
not sure who picked.
Penang.
Penang. I don't know. We're trying to think. In the
close to
south, southern
In the
Thailand.
south.
anyway in the south there, and yeah, I mean it was the first time that I experienced it as an
Oh,
adult
Hatyai.
or a young adult, and it was a blast. Yeah, yeah. So everybody was looking to splash water on the big phalang, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't, when people are listening, what this is all about, you've probably seen pictures or videos in different places. So Songkran, the Thai New Year's, we celebrate by splashing water on each other, basically. And I think, the ritual, Christian, tell us a little bit about this. It's like to clean, to kind of cleanse, right? The past year away. Is that kind of the tradition?
Correct. Well, of course, it's fun for them, but what it means is the water is a blessing to cleanse the past, and then the Songkran is the beginning of a new year, everything good, everything blessed, and just basically new beginnings.
Yeah, that's true. And John, how do you celebrate in LA? I'm sure at your restaurant over the years, you've celebrated Thai New Year's.
Yes. So in LA, we celebrated at the restaurant where the our staff or myself may dress like a Thai traditional dress, and then
Mm-hmm.
but usually, when the time is right, we actually go and join everyone in the Hollywood Thai town. So we have this such a big Thai community in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see everyone just going there, uh, and everyone kind of come together, get together as a family and enjoy the traditions, which is really fun.
That's
But back in
true.
the old day, I remember
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, right, that the traditional way is we just kind of splash the water slowly. Some people might come and kind of blessing you, like the adult touch your head and kind of
Mm-hmm.
blessing you. But now with the new technology, we actually have like a water guns. It's almost like the biggest gunfight in the whole world, and people just have a great time.
Yeah, it's so fun. And if you've seen pictures and videos of traditional Songkran celebrations in Thailand, it gets pretty crazy. But just a great way to start the new year, and I think it's so fitting to talk about right now. It's just such a challenging year for so many of us in 2020 that people are ready to jump into the new year and celebrate 2021, especially with the Thai celebration. But I think another thing that I wanted to bring up that is such a big part, and all of you in some way are related to this idea of food, right? Because Thai people love food, but especially when it comes to the Thai New Year's and how big food plays a part in it. Christian, tell us about what we can expect at the temples celebrating Thai New Year's, especially in Las Vegas.
You can expect everything from soup to traditional street food to amazing desserts, basically everything. And the vendors are authentic little Thai women who have had these recipes for centuries, so it's going to be authentic.
Yeah, and I love it. That's my favorite part about it because you get to people come in and sell the food usually, or just to just celebrate with food. And a lot of these are traditional dishes, right, Christian, that you can't really find in Thai restaurants.
Correct. A lot of things, they might seem weird, but you try it. Like they make amazing guay, which is the Thai beef noodle soup. It's so authentic. It's delicious. You can't have just one bowl. They have these amazing pandan desserts. What else? I can't name them all, but just come to one of these festivals here in Las Vegas at the temple, and you're going to see amazing food that you would not find in any restaurant.
No, it's great. And John, as a restaurant owner, I mean, how great is it to see, people just experiencing all these dishes that we grew up with, right? But not a
Yes.
lot of American people see on a regular basis.
Absolutely, especially during the Songkran day.
Mhm.
When I go to the temple, you're gonna see people bring in their heritage recipe, literally
Mhm.
like something where you hardly find in the restaurant. Even my restaurant, when we bring food to the temple to participate in those ceremony, we bring some of the like gang chai pa, which is like
Mhm.
very southern Thai, which is where we grew up, or like
Yeah.
pad sator beans, which is if you actually serve it in the restaurant, the aroma of the restaurant will change the whole perspective of the restaurant. So we sometimes literally like you're gonna see like people who grew up in the north would bring all this, like the sausage from the north, or the cow soy, but these are recipes that hand out for generations, which is really fun to just go and enjoy and eat, and people, with big smile, just like when you at home.
Yeah. And it's such a special time, especially for us Thai people who live, here in the US and thinking of home and wanting to be home, especially during the holidays. And Max, your mom got to Seattle. Talk to us a little bit about that back in the 70s. And when she came then, and I think you've talked to us about this before, just like, missing home and not having a lot of Thai ingredients or even Thai restaurants back then, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. My mom, came here in the 70s when we moved back to Seattle, where my dad is from. And, I think there was a very small Thai community at that time, if there was any. And so she missed all the flavors, that she had from back home. So she had to kind of improvise and come up with solutions, making her own fish sauce and roasting, growing her own Thai chilies and, getting things from back home and bringing them here, and really just trying to get creative and cultivate, her own harvest, so that she could cook for us when we were younger, and we got to experience it at a very early age. So that was nice.
And it's fun. And looking at your kitchen now, and I mentioned earlier, they used to own a restaurant, Toy and Max and the rest of the family, and now they run Thai Fusions, which you see the sauces right there. You're ready to cook for us there. They basically make Thai food really easy to make for home cooks out there, right? I mean, if they want to make Penang or green curry or something like that, it's so much easier to find Thai food now. But John, when you came to the U.S., even just in 1990, things have changed a lot, right? A lot more Thai restaurants in LA now than back then.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, even I think just in the last 15-20 years, the Thai restaurant is probably triple or more in Los Angeles alone. And I think the same is true for all over the city in the US.
And it's so popular. And I have to tell you guys this. I went to John's restaurant, I think late last year, right, John? And yes. I found out, and he has great food. If you're in Westwood, California, you got to go visit Emporium Thai. But tell me about your biggest fans, because of course he's in LA and he has some high, like big stars, like Cardi B, right, John?
Yes. So every once in a while, we, being in Los Angeles, that's one of the great thing about it. But it's funny, foods really connect with people, and as much as superstar like, or like in the music, like Cardi B actually visiting us like more than 6 times in 2019. Last year during the pandemic, we have John Kreese just walking in, and we sit down and talk for hours. And I complain about how slow the restaurant was during the pandemic, and he said, take a lot of picture, print it very large, put it on the window, and said, this is a restaurant that John Kreese recommended. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then we'll have like all kind. What I feel wonderful about owning a restaurant, even though it's a lot of words, but it's really connect you to so many wonderful people with all walk of life, and those are essentially became your friends, and now that we're here 21 years, we still have one of the first customer that we still become friends, and when we have a happy time or rough time, we can still call and talk about it, which is amazing.
And I think that's so great you brought that up. And Christian, I want you to chime in on this because, talking about Thai people, and maybe I'm biased, and I think I am, but I think Thai people are just so nice and friendly and resilient, and just, being in a Thai community, it's just such a positive vibe, right? And you grew up, Christian, among all the Thai people here in Las Vegas, and your mom, being such a big part of the community. Talk to us a little bit about that and how she kind of brought the Thai community together here.
Okay. Well, my parents moved here in the early 70s and they started their family. So at first, like I said, there was no Thai community back in the 70s. And how they met was through the Air Force Base. My mom would go there to get groceries. She would meet somebody and they would say, "Hi, are you Thai?" "Yes." And they'd get happy. And they would make friends and get together. And then as that progressed, more Thai women were coming here. They formed a temple. The very first temple is a temple called Wat Put Pavana, and that started in a little tiny house on Sand Hill, and now it's grown into an actual temple, which is off of Gowan Road now. But nobody knew about it. So how my mom brought the community together with the friends that she made when she first moved here, she started the first ever Thai newspaper in Nevada back in 1999. And so she would go to all of these events and then get the word out, and people would go to the first Thai market in Las Vegas, which was called the International Market. That's where the newspaper was found at first. So then the community started to grow, and they would show up at all of these events that they saw in the newspaper, and they would make friends from there. And it basically progressed because my mom was able to connect with people. And my mom was such a friendly, beautiful, bright person. I mean, you knew her. She just had this amazing personality, warm and friendly to everybody. So they would see my mom, like people that never met her would see her in the newspaper and say, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I know you." And she would say, "Take a picture with me. Let's get you in there." So that was a really big part of history on how everybody came together through this newspaper and the temples.
Yeah, and Las Vegas, we see more Asian American growing, population growing, including the Thai Americans. I think a lot of people have moved here from California over the last few years too. So I love it because I love seeing more Thai people here and the Thai community growing. More Thai restaurants are opening all over the city. And Max, your mom moved here, and now she's been here for what, over 40, almost 50 years now, like half a century.
Yeah, that's right.
And do you guys still go back to Thailand? I mean, what's kind of the tradition you guys do together as a family? I mean, I'm sure that's still a big part of your family, the Thai culture and traditions.
It is, absolutely. And I have an aunt here as well. So we usually get together, for Songkran and, everybody's birthday and Thai holidays and cook together. So it has been a long time. I actually remember the first Thai restaurant that came to Seattle. I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, and I ended up valeting cars across the street from this incredible Thai restaurant, and you could see the effect on people, and there was a line out the door, and it was so exciting for me to see it literally across the street and watch it develop and grow into this thing. And that's kind of when I knew exactly, I had to share my mom's culture, our culture, and find a way to be connected to that. So it's really helped me find out who that is.
And with your business, with your food now, I mean, why do you feel like, why is it such a passion for you? You feel like Thai food is just at the core of your family, but also at your business as well, right?
It is, absolutely. Every time I go back to Thailand, I think everybody has the same reaction. If you've ever gone to Thailand, it's like, mind blowing. And you come back and you feel connected to it. And so you go to the Thai restaurants and you know the name of the Thai dish that you like, that you experience there. And it's just that whole experience that I think, people really, really, they love. So that's what I love most about it. Being able to.
It's great. Yeah. And if you're just joining us here on Facebook now, we're having this a special episode on Thai New Year's, which is this month in April, where people celebrate the marking of a new year. I read up on this a little bit. Songkran, which is Thai New Year's, it actually means transformation or change, which I think is really appropriate, when people just kind of, move on from the past year into the new year. And it's such a fun festival. And I'm so glad to have some amazing guests joining me today from 3 cities. Christian is here in Las Vegas, Max is in Seattle, and John Sankami is the owner of Emporium Thai, a really popular Thai restaurant in Los Angeles. John, talk to us a little bit about the culture. How has it changed since you've been there in terms of the Thai community? I'm sure it's grown quite a bit, but anything kind of like unique about the city and the Thai community that really stands out?
Definitely it is. Going back when I first started the restaurant in 2000, it was so difficult to let everyone know that you have a Thai restaurant on Westwood Boulevard. Imagine back then, even when we tried to do a delivery order and we said we have a Thai restaurant, you have to really print a hard copy menu, and you literally like drive or walk around for an hour and drop off to each businesses or home. And then when someone making a call and you try to deliver, we also don't have an app to look at the map. So you have to know how to look at the Thomas guide. And then if you miss it by, one block, most likely you have to look for a payphone. And so that's how, the world is changing so rapidly. So now, with the Thai community, with the Thai culture, with the media, the social media, I mean, if you have a good business model and you make a good food, people will find you. That's how I feel. And same as, we have a great Thai community here. We have a great support from Thai trades, the Royal Thai Commerce. So such a great joy to see how we grow very fast. And I think the trend is going to be even faster in the next 5 to 10 years.
And you made a good point. The Thai Trade Authority, based in LA, they work with Max, with you guys as well, to get the word out about your products, and with John and Christian, I know you're working on a book, so I want to help pitch that out for you. Talk to us about this book, because it's not just about moving forward, but there's a lot of history that you wanted people to know, because, when people think Asian Americans, we're all the same, but they're very different. And the Thai community is very unique, right? In the way that we have been, our history here in the US and in Las Vegas.
Yes, the Thai community is very unique. The reason I wanted to do the book was to honor my mom. When she passed away, a lot of people were heartbroken because she was a part of history to build any temple you go to. She had a hand in the donations. She donated, she helped do the fundraisers, and her friends. I mean, growing up with these women that I call auntie or grandma, they knew me since I was a little kid, and I felt that I couldn't abandon them. And they told me that, they said to me at my mom's Thai funeral, "Who's going to protect us now?" I said, well, I'm still here. I'm still doing the newspaper. So I saw that there were a few books out there that talk about the Thai community, but they missed one big part that was close to my heart, which is the people. They would notate, we have a market, but who started that market? Who started this newspaper? Who started the first restaurant? I wanted them to know the people. I didn't want them to just know that there are, Thai restaurants and products here. I wanted them to know why it's here, how it got here, who brought it here, the people that sacrificed coming here to America for better life for themselves and their families. I wanted these people to have a story and a part in history, not, because we have these people to thank for all of these products, the food, the amazing restaurants, the beautiful temples, because without them coming here, this wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and it's really, it comes down to the personal stories, right? I mean, personal story of you, Max, and your family, and John and your family, and it's like your mom, and what, you have 12 siblings who have had amazing stories here, right?
Yes, definitely a great story, and I love that Dr. Christian talking about her mom, and I feel the same. My mother, we were born in the southern part of Thailand, and she has 12 kids. So I grew up with 11 siblings. And the reason we came here, because she won the green card lottery in 1990. So imagine I was like 19 something and just graduated from high school. And I went directly to work as a salesperson. And then I walked like door to door, like selling the books. And for about a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, my mom said, oh, she have this little package sent from the US, and we have to take it to the translator and finally talk to our sister who been living here before us. And then we learned that, oh wow, she won the basically the green card lottery that allow her and her kids to come here and live as a US residents. And so and I mean the fact that she been kind of teaching us to be grateful and great person, and all the recipe that she has kind of teaching at a young age. everything that we were able to bring it to the US, and now such a grateful thing to be able to create the restaurant, and I want this place to be her legacy, and hopefully even after my time, hopefully my kids will take over, and we're gonna be like 2-3 generation of restaurant within the US.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. I mean, all of your family, and Max, I know and met your mom personally, Toy, and she's wonderful. And I think in a way, what you're doing today, all the hard work you're putting into this business, is kind of to honor her as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. I really wanted to honor my mom and the food that she kind of brought to the community here. She came here and immediately opened up a daycare in our home, and all of the kids that we grew up with in the neighborhood were, she babysat all of them, 9 kids every day for 20 years, 19, 20 years, so there's all of these families and these kids through the neighborhood that came, that she raised on her Thai food. And so my mom's always been kind of a pioneer and just being, she doesn't stop working, and she's worked so hard all of her life. So that's really, I wanted to honor that as well. And every story, about our moms is very special to us. And I could see how emotional it is for John and Christian, as well. I think it means so much to be able to share this with people. So.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful that you're all sharing this with me, because in a way we're all a community, right? Like no matter what cities we're in the US, like we're all Thai, and we're all, unite, especially on a New Year's Day and a New Year's week for the Thai people. That's when we all come together. I'll let you guys leave some last words. And Christian, by the way, her mom's name was Oiwan Sawyer, and she was the sweetest lady, and I love her so much. And Christian, any word for the Thai New Year's you want to send to the community, especially the Thai community here in Las Vegas?
Yes, I want to wish everybody a happy and blessed Songkran, and I thank them for continuing to embrace me, and I cherish them because they were a part of me growing up, and they continue to love my mom, because sometimes I feel when I see them, I know they love me, but it's never, hey, hi, doctor. It's, hey, I miss your mom so much. Gosh. And I just laugh because I know what my mom meant to them. And that makes me feel good because she was such a big part of this community. So thank you. And moving forward, I wish everybody a happy New Year.
Okay. How about you, Max? What do you want to say?
I'd love to say happy Songkran to the Thai community, and the previous year has been very tough and difficult, and many blessings and good luck to you and the new year. I know how hard you're working, especially the restaurateurs and everybody that works in the food space. It's a very, very difficult time, but I've never been around a group of more hardworking, resilient, resourceful people, and I'm proud and honored to be a part of that. So happy Songkran.
Thank you. And John, you know what? I know you speak Thai really well. So do you want to say it in both languages for us, in Thai and in English?
Sure. Let's see. I'll start with English, which is, again, happy Songkran or happy Thai New Year's to everyone. Again, it's a very tough year in 2020, but 21 will be a better years. And those who have, family, especially if you still have mom or dad and you are Thai, hug them, kiss them. That's like the best thing that ever happened to you. And sometimes you might not realize it until they're no longer there. So, and my heart go out to all the people who, especially on the restaurant, just keep fighting, keep doing the good job, and all the blessing, and happy Songkran. So now I'll speak Thai. สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีปีใหม่ ก็ขอให้ทุกคนที่อยู่ในลอสแอนเจลิสหรือลาสเวกัสหรือที่ซีแอตเทิลหรือ all over the world นะครับก็ สวัสดีปีใหม่แล้วก็ขอให้ทุกคนมีความสุขมากๆนะครับถ้ายังมีพ่อแม่อยู่หรือครอบครัวที่เรารักก็พยายามรักกันเยอะๆนะครับแล้วก็เราจะเอาใจช่วยทุกคนขอให้ทุกคนมีความสุขมากๆครับขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณมากนะคะคุณ John ขอบคุณ Dr. Christian ขอบคุณ Max and thank you everybody for watching this special edition of Education celebrating Songkran or Thai New Year's. I'm so happy to be here as part of the Thai community helping to spread the word about this beautiful culture of all of us, and we love to help share that culture with you. And we hope you have a wonderful, successful, healthy, and happy 2021 สวัสดีปีใหม่นะคะทุกคนขอให้มีความสุขมากๆ Thank you so much, Max and Dr. Christian and John for joining me on the show today. And สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีปีใหม่นะคะ and we'll see you again next time. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.